Hi everyone, this is Nina from Rafaela's Soul Sessions. How are we all doing? I know I've been away. I've been away for about 6 months. Well, I've not posted anything here for about 6 months. Um, I didn't intend to have such a long break from posting videos. It just kind of partly happened and partly needed to happen. Um, if you've been following me on other social media, you may have picked up on a few things that have been unfolding in my life. Um, yeah, some beautiful shifts and changes have been occurring, and I needed to take some time to live and breathe and um, yeah, just take a little bit of time to reconfigure and rejuvenate my energy. Last year had been quite, well, this past year has been quite intense with school for my daughter and therapy and um yeah, that was kind of taking its toll on me. I think was spinning a lot of plates being here on my own, and then, well, as some of you may know already, I fell in love and met my person, which was totally unexpected and wonderful. And we recently got engaged, and yeah, I'm just back from beautiful 2 week trip to Sardinia to meet my new in-laws, or they will be my in-laws, and have a holiday for the first time in, well, around 7 years before my daughter was born. Um, so it had been a long time since I'd been away, and this was, yeah, this was a time that I needed to live, I think, for a bit. Just have kind of a normal life for a little bit. Although I've always been working, I've always kept working with clients. I've had some mentorship clients that I've been working with over the past wee while, but I haven't been so much putting myself out there. Um, Certainly not with videos and things like that, just because I've just needed to take my energy back and kind of walk my talk a little bit and fill up my own cup for a while. I think it's really important, especially when you're in service like this, to take time out to live, to experience, to uh yeah, to make new stories and experience life. So that's kind of where I've been, although I'm back. Um, although I've never really been away, I've always been posting, but just not as much. Um, but yeah, the work has been ever flowing, and I've really enjoyed the sessions that I've been doing over the last little while. And I wanted to share a couple of things that happened in two recent sessions. Um, because I just thought they were really cool, and they just reminded me of how beautiful this work is. Um, I'll start with a session that I did yesterday for one of my mentorship clients, Lauren. Her session was really beautiful, actually. This was her third session with me, out of her mentorship. We've been working together for about 5, maybe 6 months, um, doing sessions and doing the integration sessions and the sort of coaching in between. And this was her third one. And it was beautiful. It was really beautiful to see how far she's come from that first time that we connected, to see where she is now and the growth that's happened in that time, the expansion between each session, and her reconnecting with her ability to trust her intuition and Um, just really beautiful evolution, and they're called quantum evolution. So just yeah, beautiful to see her flourish like that. Um, so this was her third session, and it was a lot about her tapping more into her connection with people and community and being involved more with community and how important that is to have those around her. And there was this thing that happened during the session where we came into a scene and she was on a beach and she said, she's like, I feel like a bird. Um, and I know that happens. I mean, we can be all sorts of animals in these sessions. She's like, I feel like I'm an eagle or something. I was like, okay. And I kind of, I was open, but I kind of just kind of assumed that we'd go through this bird life and like, see what it's like to be a bird. And that can always be quite a profound experience, like feeling what it's really like to fly and what it's like to live as a bird. But this wasn't about that. This was about this bird was looking for someone specific because it woke up with the intuition that it had to give a sign to this person, this specific person. It woke up knowing that it was meant to give someone a sign that day. And that I found that really fat. That was like, oh, do birds know that they have to do that? Who's telling them? Where they get that information from? I was like getting all excited because I've never thought about it like that. We see signs from nature, but how is that from the animal's perspective? I'd never even thought of it like that. Um, so I asked, I just asked every question that came to mind, as we are supposed to. And I was just like, so how does that work? Um, and the answer was just like everything is more intuitive. Um, everything is more connected to source. So the information about assisting others is just downloaded from source. And she literally said birds have a closer connection to source. And I was like, is that because they're in the sky and they're closer? Yeah. A lot of questions during that part. Um, and it was just a really beautiful thing because she was describing that this bird had gone to the beach that day specifically because it knew it was to give someone a sign. And I just thought that was really beautiful to think that they have that knowing within them that they are these messengers and they're here to assist and they're working through source. It just gave me a really lovely feeling. But she also said, I'm reading off the notes, that they're consciously aware that they are to help someone. They're here to help. Whilst they're going about their bird life, they also know that they are to be of assistance. And I just found that really touching and really beautiful. And I wanted to share it because I thought it was lovely. Um, and really cool to see that from the perspective of the eagle who is giving this message. Because I mean, I've had messages from birds and I've never thought about it from their perspective and how that all works and how they're working with source, with spirit to assist us to speak. Spirit works through them to speak to us. Yeah, and I just found that really lovely. So I wanted to share that one. I also did a session the other day for one of my colleagues, and that was really interesting because I mean, it was a really profound session in that there was a very, very deep healing that took place, and she went very, very deep um, into trance to receive that healing. Um, and having heard from her since, she says she's feeling much more peaceful um, since going through that. But in the morning, there was this really interesting thing that happened. When I was walking back from dropping my daughter off at school, I looked up at the sky and there was something very strange about the sky. It wasn't usual. The light was different. The sun was there, as the sun normally is, but it was completely cloudy, although you could see the sun, like the circle of the sun, which doesn't normally happen. Um, but it was there and it was bright, but you could look right at it. And it was almost like the way it was shining, it was almost like an LED light. It looked almost artificial. But then there was this kind of, felt like a pink hue that was over everything. And it was just really kind of strange sky. One I hadn't seen before. I kind of followed the sun the whole way home just because I found it really interesting. And I took a picture actually before I started the session. And then when I was doing the session with B, during the induction, sometimes we take people into a garden um, and ask them to describe where they are. And she started just describing the garden and the way the light was and the way everything looked. And the way on what she was describing was essentially what I'd been seeing the whole way home. And the way she was saying there was this light and there was this kind of pink hue and it's like, okay, sounds awfully like um what I'd seen. And then later in the session, the higher self had been talking about how connected everything was and how interconnected everything is, especially with this work. And I asked the higher self why it had shown her the garden in the way that it showed her because I was curious. And now I wish I could remember what the answer was off the top of my head. That would be so I can't quite remember. But I then said that, you know, the sky that I'd seen this morning was very much like the sky that she described in the garden. And they said, yeah, of course, because it's showing you just how connected all of this is and how deeply interconnected these sessions are with everything, not just what's happening on the screen with the client. It's not just you and the client, it's everything that's working together. And these moments of synchronicity are nods from the universe to show us the depth of the work that we're doing. You're not just working with a client, it's not just a session for one person. It's these sessions and this work is really working with a much bigger tapestry that's all weaved together. And I remember Dolores talking about the tapestry, and then Dolores kind of popped in and was speaking about all of this. And it was just a really lovely moment of remembering how deeply connected all of this is. Not that I'd ever forgotten and not that I'd ever stopped loving the magic of this work. Um, but it was just a lovely reminder of that. And there was another moment whilst the healing was all taking place, because it was a very deep, profound healing that they were doing, and I was going to do some light language whilst it was happening, just to sort of help facilitate the healing, but I really wanted to understand more about what it was they were doing. And they said they were doing a golden healing. And right before they said that, I kind of sat back in my chair And I was listening to what was sort of happening, but then the energy was really kind of intense and heavy, and I could feel my eyelids kind of dipping. And so I decided to sit up and ask, more about what was happening. And as I did that, they started talking about the golden healing. And they were talking about this healing was happening on so many levels, all the physical body, the light body, all the spiritual bodies, um, and also the lifetimes, all of the different lifetimes that have been affected by this one event that had caused this suffering, this pain, this trauma, um, that was affecting her still in this current life. And that this golden healing was connecting everything. This ankh pendant, which I've got a lot of love for this pendant. Um, this pendant was glinting like that as they were talking about this golden healing, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. And it was talking about how it was connected to all of the lifetimes and all of the, and it was just, yeah, it was a really beautiful moment. So that was just a few things that have happened in the last few sessions that have just, yeah, they just kind of put a sparkle in my step, I guess, made me remember just how magical all of this is. And of course, it's deep, profound healing, but there is this, and it's what made me fall in love with quantum healing. There is this element of magic and wonderment to all of this. And I shared a meme the other day. Sorry, that was my daughter. Give me a second. Sorry, that was my daughter asking for a snack, so I had to go and do that. Um, yeah, it was just a lovely reminder of the magic and wonderment that I felt when I first had a session, when I first started doing this work, and a reminder of not just the profound healing that's taking place, but the effect and the ripple effect that it has on the earth and the world around us. And also, I think going back to the ego, the consciousness and the level of awareness of nature and everything that is involved in all of this. It was just a beautiful reminder for me, and I wanted to share it with you all. Um, so yeah, I'm back. If you feel called to work with me over the next little while, you can head over to my website, which is rafaelasoulsessions.com. Um, you can reach out and we can see about having a consultation. I have two options for consultation. Um, 15 minutes for free or 1 hour for £44, I think, British pounds. And that's with an additional card reading. That gives you a chance to see how I work. It gives us more of a chance to get deeper into your current situation and why you might want to be having a session, what is calling you, what's going on in your life right now, um, and where you want to be headed. Um, and it gives you a chance to see how I hold space. And also, we can, through the card reading, we can also kind of connect with your team a little bit. I can share any intuitive messages that I get through. And yeah, we can just kind of feel out how it is working together. And they're really fun. They really help people, I think, sometimes. It's nice to connect that way. You can really sort of connect from the heart with people and see if that connection is something worth following up with a session. Um, so I do the individual sessions, but I also do the mentorships, and I do 1, 3, or 5 sessions in the mentorships. That's with 2 hours of coaching between each session. Mentorships, it's hard to describe how beautiful they are to watch from my perspective of when the client first comes to me with this want to really step into their path, but not knowing how to get there, or having had an experience that really led them off track and trying to figure out how to get back to a space that's going to allow them to fulfill their purpose here. And it's it's just so beautiful and so intimate and powerful to see the shifts and the evolution that occurs during that time space where we work together. So yeah, that's all from me today. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me here on my channel. Thanks for sticking around, even though I've been really quiet. I do really, really appreciate every single one of my followers, even though I've got a little humble following over here, but I really appreciate all of you, and those who support my work and interact with the things that I share and share the things that I share. I really appreciate it, and I appreciate you all. So if you want to work with me, feel free to get in touch. Otherwise, I hope you have a wonderful week. And I'm pretty sure I'll be back soon to share more about what's going on in my world and with the session work that's happening. And yeah, loads of love. We'll speak soon. Take care. Bye.